2025, we do have the second edition of the fourth session of a Junior Parliamentary Assembly. These are junior parliamentarians drawn from various schools across the various constituencies that we have in the country. My name is 𝒂𝒍𝒕𝒚 𝑬𝒅𝒖𝒄𝒂𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 adjournment.
National anthem.
Standards of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy, unity, victors in the struggle forever. We want freedom, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland. Fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us, all her people, join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One nation is our cry. Dignity and business, Zambia's pride. Like a noble eagle in his flight. Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God. Praise our great nation. Free men we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in such just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, before we get into the business for this session of Parliament, I wish to welcome you all to this august house. Let me take this opportunity to urge all honorable members to take the business of the house seriously and debate passionately on behalf of the people of Zambia that we serve. I invite you to exercise your freedom of speech and debate without fear. You are most welcome once again, and I wish you all very fruitful deliberations. I thank you. Motion. The Honorable Member for Matero, Mr. Asford Kachingwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Asford Kachingwe from Matero constituency. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House urges the government to demonstrate its commitment to the rights and welfare of the children by substantially increasing budgetary allocations to quality education and health care services for all children across the country. I thank you.
Is the motion seconded?
I second.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Munali, Mr. Mushibwe. The question is that this House urges the government to demonstrate its commitment to the rights and welfare of children by substantially increasing budgetary allocations to quality education and healthcare services for all children across the country. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Matero, Mr. Kachingwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, once again. Madam Speaker, it is an important call to us as the opposition, and we thought it is very important that we urge the government to do so. Madam Speaker, when we talk about the budgetary allocations or the resource allocations in this country, let us not focus about us, the senior members of parliament. Let us focus about the future. Who is going to take over once we are gone, Madam Speaker? Now, each and every country is safe if it has its youths or children who are well educated. This is why we are saying every time that the government seeks to plan the national budget, let them put the best interest of the child first. Because once we prioritize the needs of the children, it will be very easy for us to prosper, because 2-3 years from now, we the senior members are going to be out of parliament. Who's going to take over from us if we have illiterate children? Therefore, Madam Speaker, it is an urgent call to the government. We've seen what they are doing, yes, but the question still stands, and we thought of coming up with this motion. Is it enough for the children? Is it enough? Are they allocating enough resources to the education sector, Madam Speaker? Of course, they still need to do more, and this is why we have stood, Madam Speaker, to come up with such a motion, so that indeed the government can still do more, allocating more resources to the education sector and the healthcare sector. Let us not forget to say the country's development is built in well-educated people and healthcare facilities. Now, Madam Speaker, if we still have few resources being allocated to the education sector, then we're not going anywhere. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we still urge the government, in whatever they are doing, let them do more so that we can have well-educated children and healthy for that matter. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker. I would like to thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to speak in this August House. Madam Speaker, to begin, I would like to second on what my motion mover has just said just now. Madam Speaker, let's look at the allocation of funds on the 2024 and 2025 budget. In the health sector, they allocated 11.8 in the 2024 budget, and 2025 they allocated 10.7. Year by year, as we look at the allocation, it keeps on decreasing, Madam Speaker. But the question is, even with that 11.8%, it was still not enough. What about the 10.7? Will it be enough? Will it suffice for what we children need? We children are the most vulnerable people in our societies, and we need more than just what the people, these older people, our seniors need. And look at the education sector. In the 2024 allocation, they allocated 15.4, and in the 2025, they allocated 14.5. Then if we were to look at schools like from the Munali constituency I come from, most schools have insufficient number of desks there. Most children have to sit on the floors because there are no desks. Allow me to quote what the DEB's secretary, Mr. 𝒖𝒓𝒈𝒆𝒏, quoted one meeting I attended. He said, if you invest in a child, the difference will not be seen now, but 20 years later. So I urge the government to invest now, and we'll see the difference. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any further debate? Honorable Chileleko Mazai from Babala constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to lay down my views. My name is Honorable 𝒂𝒍𝒊𝒕𝒚 representing the respective people of Mbabala constituency. Madam Speaker, the motion at hand today in the August House is urge the government to demonstrate its commitment to children's rights by significantly increasing and prioritizing budgetary investment in quality education and healthcare services for all children across the country. Madam Speaker, I would like to urge the government to extend free education from early childhood education, Madam Speaker, to tertiary level, because I believe that's where there's a lot of pressure, Madam Speaker, than early childhood. Madam Speaker, I believe to say in tertiary level it's more expensive, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to urge the government to advocate the 1997 policy, also known as the re-entry policy. Madam Speaker, how sure are we that as MPs that the government is working to say that they are emphasizing on this policy? Madam Speaker, many children today have dropped out of school due to circumstances such as teenage pregnancy, early marriages, Madam Speaker. And I don't believe as an MP that's quite right, Madam Speaker, for the government to just turn a left eye on this, Madam Speaker. I would really love to urge the government to emphasize more on this policy. Madam Speaker, I would love to urge the government to increase the amount of money that is given out to governmental organizations like CDF, Madam Speaker, also known, or should I straighten it out, also known as Child Development Fund, Madam Speaker. How sure are we as MPs that the money that is being allocated to the Development Fund is enough to accommodate all the children, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, I would also love to urge the Zambian government to allocate more money to the education sector and the health sector. Madam Speaker, if they allocate more money than the money that they are allocating right now, Madam Speaker, it can develop many people, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would love to urge the Zambian government to build more nearby schools, especially in rural areas, Madam Speaker, because children nowadays are walking kilometers for them to access school, Madam Speaker, and I don't think this is quite right, Madam Speaker. The same kilometers that they are walking, Madam Speaker, as the children reach to class, they'll be very tired, they'll be exhausted, their brain won't be able to extend more things that are supposed to be learnt by them, Madam Speaker. This is going to affect the education sector, Madam Speaker, because many children will start failing because they're tired of the kilometers that they're walking from home to school, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would also like to urge the Zambian government, once more again, to increase the amount of money that is given to the education sector and the health facilities and the health sector, Madam Speaker. Because if the money that is given to the health sector is increased, Madam Speaker, they're able to build schools, they're able to build sick bays, Madam Speaker, because many children nowadays have minor injuries like headache, stomach aches, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if they also allocate more money to the education sector, Madam Speaker, it's going to help them to build more.
Your time is up.
Madam Speaker, I submit.
Any further debate? Honorable Mary Musonda Katiete from Mwembeshu constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to air out the views of the people of Mwembezi constituency on the motion which urges the government to demonstrate its commitment to children's rights by significantly increasing and prioritizing budgetary investments for quality education and health care services for all children. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the government for free education, which has enabled a lot of learners to go back to school. Madam Speaker, quality education and health care are key factors in breaking the cycle of poverty. By investing in these areas, Madam Speaker, it will help learners from disadvantaged backgrounds to improve their socio-economic status. For the past 2 years, the government has shown an increment in the 2022 national budget and the 2023 national budget of 1.5, which I urge the government to do more. If all children receive same quality education and same healthy care, they all become equal regardless of their backgrounds. If the government was to invest more in these areas, schools will have enough funds to purchase resources learners need to thrive. And these resources include ICT devices, learning and teaching materials. With this new curriculum, Madam Speaker, books are limited, which hinders learners who do not have access to smartphones to have information. But if the schools were to purchase these books, the learners will thrive in their quality education. Madam Speaker, There are a lot of challenges which we children are facing. I urge the government to build children's hospital in all districts, more especially in my constituency, because, Madam Speaker, when a child is sick in my constituency, the parents are given a leaflet to come to the University Teaching Hospital or 𝒉𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂💏, where you may find that the parents of the child have little or no money. Even if they have money, Madam Speaker, during the way, the child's situation worsens. I urge the government to invest more in these areas so that they can build more hospitals in these areas. Madam Speaker, I would also like to urge the government to build more schools, because learners have to walk long distances, which is risky for girl child, because you may find that the child is supposed to be in class by 7 hours, but for that child to be in class on time, that child has to start off from home around 04:30 or 5 hours, causing high rate of defilement, Madam Speaker. Thank you, I submit.
Honorable Moses Nyeleti from Lusaka constituency.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Madam Speaker, thank you for this opportunity you've granted for me to speak on behalf of Lusaka Central constituency and the children of Zambia. Honorable Madam Speaker, yes, we acknowledge the government's effort and progress in building healthy posts and providing vaccines. But, Honorable Madam Speaker, challenges still remain. In many clinics, Honorable Madam Speaker, even simple medication, Madam Speaker, parents are sent to go buy medication from pharmacies, which is hindering a lot of families due to the fact that they can't afford a lot of money. Honorable Madam Speaker, CDF can be the solution to this. If more of these funds are allocated or channeled to these sectors, building rural healthy posts, stocking medicine in clinics, and supporting community healthy awareness, and the children will be the leaders that we want for tomorrow. Honorable Madam Speaker, I therefore urge the government to increase the number of funds allocated to this sector. I submit. Thank you, Madam.
Honorable Mubanga Chishimba from Wengwa constituency. Honorable Tamika Yowela from Kabwata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Tamika Yowela from Sishamo Education Trust, representing the Kabwata constituency. Madam Speaker, I would love to urge the government to strengthen feeding programs in schools, so that if a child comes from their home without eating, they will be able to focus in class. Because if a child comes from their home without eating, they will fail to focus in class, and they would have to walk long distances to reach their school. Secondly, schools should have well-trained and friendly teachers, so that a child cannot be afraid and be able to focus. If a school has harsh teachers, the children will be scared and they will fail to focus in class. Thirdly, the government should start to sensitize parents in homes so that they can be giving their children nutritious foods. Because if a child does not eat nutritious foods, they will be unhealthy and their education will be in vain. Fourthly, as we all know, education is the best equalizer. It can bring someone with a poor background and someone with a rich background to sit together and discuss serious matters. Let me give an example of someone we all know. Someone who grew up in the villages of Southern Province, looking after cattle. Because of education, this person is now sitting down as our president today. Fifthly, increase the number of schools. If you increase the number of schools, it will reduce the number of students in one class. If a class is congested with a lot of students, diseases will spread easily. And if you increase the numbers of schools, the government would have to employ more teachers. Thank you.
Honorable Hope Chileshe from Kapirimposho constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that wise call. 4,200 teachers were employed this year, and before the end of the year, further 2,000 teachers will be employed, bringing that to a total of 6,200 teachers to be employed by the end of the year 2025. This is to increase the manpower in schools so as to ensure that the children get their quality education. Teachers have been given more salaries. There's been a significant increase in the salaries of teachers. This is to ensure that the teachers have motivation to teach the children and to give effective learning to them. Under the Ministry of Education, Madam Speaker, Public Health has health talks with children in schools, with the community, adolescent health. They focus on that, they focus on mental health, Madam Speaker. All this is a deliberate move by the Zambian government to make sure that children are healthy enough to learn in schools and gain their quality education. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mary Chungu from Mandevu constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Without wasting much of your time, I'll just go directly into what I will say. Madam Speaker, health is a significant sector, hence it needs more funds. Insufficient funding in health facilities, especially in Mandevu constituency where I come from. Madam Speaker, clinics that deal with children or simply pediatric hospitals has been lacking enough funds to cater the needs of sick children and build more conducive buildings for children. Madam Speaker, I urge the government to allocate more funds into the education sector and the health sector because it deals with children. Madam Speaker, health should be highly considered because it's like a pillar to our health and well-being. Madam Speaker, I urge the government to allocate more funds so that they could build more hospitals and cater the needs of children. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Thokozile Ndlovu from Kapirimposhu constituency. Honorable Patience Malola from Mandevu constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the warm call. Madam Speaker, without wasting your time, I'll just go directly to the point. When it comes to inequity distribution, Madam Speaker, resources don't often reach the most vulnerable children, including those with disabilities in rural areas or living in poverty. Lack of child participation. Children are often excluded from decision-making processes that affect their lives. Madam Speaker, it's important to involve them in planning and budgeting to ensure their needs are met. Inequity distribution and evaluation. Without effective monitoring and evaluation, we can't ensure that our programs are achieving their intended outcomes. Madam Speaker, while planning and budgeting for children is crucial, it is equally important to acknowledge the limitations of their current system. By addressing these concerns, Madam Speaker, we are working towards a more effective and supportive environment for our children. Madam Speaker, I urge the government to make immediate decision to address these concerns and ensure that our children receive the support and resources they deserve. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Wensingaba from Munali constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to speak in the August House. Before I proceed, my name is Wensingaba, coming from the Munali constituency. I am firstly going to talk about the education sector. Firstly, infrastructure. Due to the free education policy, a huge amount of pupils and learners are enrolled in schools. For example, at Chakunkula Secondary School, they enroll about 2,000 pupils. And in each class, there is 120 pupils in it, which is going to hinder not just the pupils, but the teachers as well. So I would urge the government to build more infrastructure to help the pupils and learners to understand and create a better future for themselves. Secondly, I would urge the government to enroll more qualified teachers. In schools, coming from my constituency, there are teachers, there is a shortage of teachers, which can, which can hinder, not just hinder the teacher, but the pupils as well. What if the teacher is sick and does not come for school? How are the children going to learn? So I would urge the government to bring more teachers to schools. The other one is poor learning outcomes. The contribution of these factors leads to learners struggling to meet basic academic standards, such as minimum pass rate. So, as we say in Bemba, umwana ekateka uwa mailo, which means a child is a leader of tomorrow. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Honorable 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒚 from Munali constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this wonderful privilege. My name is 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒚 from Munali constituency, as earlier stated. We all agree that children deserve healthcare and education. But the question is not about deserving, but prioritizing. Members of this House, our nation faces limited resources and overwhelming demands. If we prioritize the education sector and the health sector, there will be a compromise in the other sectors. Let us be realistic, members of this House. Some argue that if we allocate more funds to the children, to the education sector now, how are we going to ensure stability? How are we going to ensure sustainable development? Let us prioritize the future. Members of this House, furthermore, education and health are already supported by NGOs, non-governmental organizations. The government will help. They will build a foundation, but the rest, we'll leave it to our citizens to help out. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be realistic. Our nation cannot give what it does not have. We only give what they deserve. We gave you the free education. What more do you need? Let us be realistic. Yes, children are the future, but without stability today, there will be no future. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable Member Tamika Yowela from Kabota constituency. Honorable Takondwa Chisula from Kabota constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Takondwa Rebecca Chisulo from Sishemo Education Trust, representing the Kawata constituency. I would like to urge the government to help school-going children with high-quality education and health care service for all children. Quality education. The government still needs to provide good quality education for the children in rural areas. Quality education is that fosters growth, learning and development. All children need good quality education. Therefore, the government should increase the investment of quality education and improve educational infrastructure, and also increase funding for schools in disadvantaged areas. I would also like to urge the government to promote early childhood education and development programs. Healthcare ensures the children's well-being and protection. Therefore, I would also like to urge the government to ensure the children's well-being and protection by increasing the access to vaccination programs and preventive care, and improve healthcare infrastructure in rural and underserved areas. Also provide affordable and quality healthcare services for children with chronic illnesses by also supporting mental health services and counseling for children, also to access nutrition. children have the right to health. Children need to access health care, including preventive care and treatment. Right to education. Every child's
Point of order has been raised.
Is the honorable member in order to read us a speech?
Honorable member, you are not in order to read when debating. You can continue with your debate.
Therefore, all children need to access education and health care, and also to access all the rights from the government. This is where I'll end from. With these few points of mine, I'll arrest my case.
Honorable members, as you debate, please don't speak too close to the microphone. Honorable 𝒂𝒐𝒚 𝑬𝒅𝒖𝒄𝒂𝒕𝒚 from Kavota constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is 𝒂𝒂𝒚 𝑬𝒅𝒖𝒄𝒂𝒕𝒚 from 𝑠ishemo Education Trust, and I would like to give my points on why we should urge the government to increase investment in education and health. Point 1. Advocacy for policy and budgetary alignment. Align with international standards. Advocate for the government to fully align its policies with legislation and Zambia's ratification on the UN Convention on the UN Convention of the Rights of the Children. Point 2. Empowering children and communities. Invest in data systems. Point 2. Improving budgetary investment and execution. Invest in data systems. Strengthen national sector and data systems in education, health, and social protection. To support evidence-based policy making, effective resources and allocations to all children's needs. 3. Empowering children and communities. Educate the public and stakeholders about the critical importance of increased investment in children's health and education, highlighting the long-term positive impact on national development. This will help lots of children to get access to health care. And with these few points of mine, I rest my case.
Honorable members from various constituencies, let me remind you to say that you are all in order to exercise your freedom of speech by raising points of orders. Honorable member Blessings Maboshe from Kabwe Central constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Good morning, everyone. All protocol is highly observed. My names are Blessings Maboshe, coming all the way from the Kabwe constituency. Today we are discussing a very important topic, and it reads, urge the government to demonstrate its commitment to children's rights by significantly increasing and prioritizing budgetary investments. As young citizens, it is very important for us to think critically about issues that affect our lives and our community, and the following are my submissions. Firstly, government should increase funding for public schools to improve infrastructure, teacher training, and resources. For example, our school. Other classes have more than 70 pupils per class because we do not have enough classes and teachers, and also teaching equipment like chalk and textbooks are not enough. But with help from the government, it is possible for improved infrastructure, teacher training, and resources to be available. Secondly, government should ensure that all children have access to healthcare services regardless of their family's income or social status. Other parents, especially those living in rural areas, are not aware of pediatric healthcare services and are worried of large payments. Therefore, sick children are being kept at home. But when people are told about pediatric healthcare services, children will be taken for vaccinations and treatments. Thirdly, government should improve healthcare infrastructure, including hospitals, clinics, and equipment. Other health facilities do not have enough accommodation and equipment, so the government should increase funding to improve healthcare infrastructure
and equipment to ensure quality care. Fourthly, government should establish agencies that promote and protect children's rights. Child abuse, rape cases, human rights violation, and other cases can be reduced if the government are involved in establishment of agencies that promote and protect children's rights. Fifthly, government should allocate sufficient budget to support children's programs and services. Organizations that support children's programs and services may be formed but do not have enough money to continue supporting children's programs and services. The last point of them all, public awareness and education. Public awareness and education on children's rights can encourage children's participation in decision-making processes and ensure their voices are heard. Thank you.
Honorable Fred Tungunga from Mandevu constituency. Honorable Doris Malambo from Kabota constituency. Honorable Prince Sapanoi from Lusaka Central constituency.
Honorable Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to represent Lusaka Central Constitution and the children of Zambia. Honorable Madam Speaker, Zambia has made significant progress towards SDG 4 quality education. Our free education policy has brought over 2 million children back to school. Honorable Madam Speaker, however, we still face challenges. Many classrooms are overcrowded, teachers are few in some schools, and desks are insufficient. Honorable Madam Speaker, to achieve SDG 4 fully, we must prioritize quality learning. As I'm talking right now, Madam Speaker, we government, we must locate a clear portion of the Constitution Development Funds, CDF, towards classroom construction, teachers recruitment, and digital learning tools. By investing in education, we must secure Zambia's future, end poverty, child marriages, and...
Point of order has been raised.
Once again, Madam Speaker, is the honorable member over there in order to read us a speech from a script?
Honorable member, you are not in order to read your speech throughout your debate. You may continue with your debate.
I think from here, Madam Speaker, I'll raise my case. Thank you.
Honorable Sarah Perry from Munali constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Sarah Perry from Munali constituency. Madam Speaker, if the government invests in quality education and healthcare services, they will not only be securing the children's future, but they will also be working towards achieving the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Specifically, Sustainable Development Goal number 4 and number 3. Number 4, which states that quality education, and number 3 talks about healthcare services. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity.
Honorable Mumba Nathan from Matero constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My names are Honorable Nathan Mumba, representing Matero constituency. Now, Madam Speaker, we are not denying the fact that the government are putting in effort in making sure that they allocate funds to sectors such as the healthcare sector and the academic sector. Now, our concern is that the money, or rather the funds that they are allocating to these sectors are not enough, and they are not keeping up with the rate at which the population growth is increasing. Now, Madam Speaker, let us also take into consideration that, yes, quite right, the government are putting in more effort in giving funds to both the academic sector and the healthcare sector, but the money is just not enough. So we are therefore urging the government to increase the money and let the government build in more schools and more infrastructure so that the pupils that are going back to school can have proper accommodation. Madam Speaker, there is a saying in Bemba which goes that imitikula empanga, meaning that we are the future generation of tomorrow. And they further go on by saying if you educate a female, meaning that you educate the entire country. In Bemba, it is translated as ngawasambilisha omwana kashi nishwasambilisha chalo chonse, meaning that we should have held policies such as the affirmative action where boys and girls, women and men are treated fairly according to their respective needs in society. Let us acknowledge factors such as principles such as the re-entry policy where we have more girls, and if we educate the girls, meaning that we are building our country and leading to us sustaining national development. With that, I submit, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Kangwa Agnes Nkandu from Kabota constituency. Honorable Joe Banda from Kabota constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to rise from my seat. I'll go straight to the point like everyone else has done today. I believe the government has done a good job bringing in free education, but is the quality of the education helpful? I really doubt that, because with increased employment and limited resources, education may suffer. And let's not forget, children are future leaders. Madam Speaker, I believe the government should build more schools in rural areas. Thank you.
Honorable Chilembo Priska from Matero constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to speak in the presence of members of Parliament. My name is Priska Chilembo, representing Matero constituency. This House urges the government to increase and prioritize budgetary investment in quality education and healthcare services for all children. Children are not just vulnerable. Children are the most vulnerable members of the society, but they are not just members of the society, they are the future leaders of tomorrow, the best foundation that can start today. Let us not forget to say that each and every child deserves education or needs education. It is not an expenditure, it is investment that will surely repay us in future. I submit.
Honorable Fevankata from Munali constituency. Honorable Stacy Pelekamoyo from Kawata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Stacy Pelekamoyo from Sishemo Education Trust, representing the Kawata constituency. And what I think the government can do to increase budgetary investment in quality education is, firstly, inadequate education funding. Zambia's education has significantly changed over the years, with 11.5% of the government budget allocated in 2021. As of 2025, the amount spent on education is 14.5% of the total value of goods and services produced in Zambia. And this is truly to Madam Speaker for such an important sector. I think the government should make it at least 20% of the total value of goods and services produced in Zambia. And I think there should be an equalizer between public and private schools, because we are all children and we all have the rights to quality education. Secondly, debt management. I would like to urge the government to prioritize concessional borrowing and improve debt management. This will reduce the amount of budget allocated to debt servicing, thereby freeing up funds for other sectors. Because Zambia's national debt exceeds to $23.1 billion and concerns about economic stability and public service delivery. I urge the government to recruit and train more pediatric healthcare workers and trainers dedicated to children's well-being. I also urge the government to offer continuous professional development opportunities to maintain high standards. The government should consider offering free continuous professional development to the teachers both in public and private schools. This will help quality delivery of education in Zambia because teachers will be equipped with more knowledge and new strategies for global competency. By addressing these issues, the Zambian government can demonstrate its commitment to children's rights. With these few points of mine, I rest my case.
Honorable 𝒂𝒕𝒚 𝑬𝒅𝒖𝒄𝒂𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒓𝒆 from Kawata constituency. Honorable Yowela from Kawata constituency. Honorable 𝒂𝒂𝒍𝒕𝒚 from Kawata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. I'll just go straight to the point. Increase budget allocating, dedicating a significant portion of the national budget to build schools, training teachers, and learning materials. Infrastructure development, constructing more schools, classrooms, libraries, laboratories, and ICT centers, especially in rural areas. Budget prioritization, allocating more funds to health services, hospitals, and medical equipment to ensure a healthy nation. Building more clinics, hospitals, and mobile health units, particularly in rural areas, will help the country. I raise my case.
Honorable Asha Kanyemba from Munali constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this rare privilege to speak through my chair. As you said, my name is Asha Kanyemba, coming from Munali constituency. Madam Speaker, education is very vital for every child because it brings about critical thinking and, of course, makes them more independent and independent future leaders and adults. Madam Speaker, I won't speak much, but I'll just go through my points. Madam Speaker, I just urge the government to raise more funds on building more secondary schools, especially in my constituency, Munali constituency. We have maybe 6 or 5 or perhaps, let me just say, 10 secondary schools, and these are not enough. So at my school, you might find that in one class we have 150 students. That brings more congestion in class and less concentration. So this can also bring failure in class, and less concentration, this can also lead to failure, as I said. Madam Speaker, not even myself, I can't even concentrate or learn in such an environment because people be making noise and I won't be able to concentrate. This will also bring burden to teachers in order for them to bring out the message to children. Madam Speaker, I just urge the government to build more schools, and schools should also consider those with disabilities. Let's not forget them. They are most important as well. They are also children. So when building schools, the government should consider that when building schools, they should also put staff that can also include the disabled, like toilets that can be able to include them and all that. Madam Speaker, I also speak of enhancing teacher quality and support, and also development a comprehensive digital education. Madam Speaker, education shouldn't be a place, or I should say, education is not supposed to be something that we're supposed to be scared of. It should be fun, engaging, and all children should feel the same. Education should feel at peace. We shouldn't be scared of education. So the government should be able to bring out materials, or rather anything that can make education engaging and fun. For example, let me say tablets or maybe projector screens, I don't know what you call them. Yeah, so those things should be able to be included in education, in the education sector, so that every child can feel the use of education but not be scared of education. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rest my case.
Honorable Faith Mwetwa from Kawata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Faith Moto from Sishemo Education Trust representing the Kawata constituency. Madam Speaker, allow me to add my voice on the motion. The government shows its commitment by financial investments. Real commitment means protecting children from preventable diseases, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we noticed that they have given us provided free education for the children who cannot pay school fees. And for that, we acknowledge it. But Madam Speaker, is the education there quality education? Madam Speaker, I have noticed that the government normally provides quantity and not quality, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, education spaces need to be accountable, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, children will not have the privilege of learning comfortably, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, allow me to draw your attention to rural areas, Madam Speaker. There are people who are less fortunate, Madam Speaker, who don't have access to facilities as education, Madam Speaker. They have to walk miles just to access school, Madam Speaker, and I don't think this is right, Madam Speaker. I feel that they should renovate and build more schools, Madam Speaker. And if they do so, Madam Speaker, it's going to benefit the whole country, Madam Speaker. We might not see the benefit of educating children today, but we will see it in the future, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, education sectors must be developed and must help children, Madam Speaker. When it comes to health sectors, Madam Speaker, hospitals can be built and renovated, Madam Speaker, to accommodate more people, Madam Speaker, and no matter the background where they're coming from, Madam Speaker. With these few points of mine, I arrest my case.
Honorable 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒚 from Matero constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this wonderful opportunity. My name is Honorable 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒚, representing the people of Matelo constituency. Madam Speaker, urges the government to prioritize quality education and health care to all children. Madam Speaker, the people of Matelo constituency, they are not just looking at quality education and health care as simple terms. They are looking at those terms as long term of social development. Madam Speaker, the foundation which is firm for each and every nation lies on quality education and also health care. Madam Speaker, if we are able to give children quality education and also a good health, Madam Speaker, we are able to build a nation which has a strong foundation of development. Madam Speaker, this can only be done by allocating enough funds for these children in order for them to have quality education and also creating frameworks that will be able to cater for these children's well-being. Madam Speaker, let us all not forget that we are also supposed to respect these children's rights. That includes children's participation and also non-discrimination and the best interest of the child. Madam Speaker, if we are able to recognize the participation of each and every children, that can only be done if they are able to experience quality education and also good health care. Madam Speaker, indeed allow me to recognize the fact that indeed the new Dawn government has introduced the policies, the re-entry policy and also the free education policy. But are those policies being used to their full potential, Madam Speaker? No, Madam Speaker. Allow me to drive your mind to the rural areas, Madam Speaker. Indeed, free education has been introduced in these areas, Madam Speaker, but they are lacking enough materials in order for them to use, in order to provide quality education. Madam Speaker, in order for us to make sure that quality education is being used, let us also use these programs which has been brought in, such as the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Let the Constituency Development Fund, Madam Speaker, be used to its full potential, Madam Speaker. Let it live up to its name, Constituency Development Fund. Let these other constituencies also start developing, Madam Speaker, by being given enough funds in order for them to develop in their various needs. Madam Speaker, allow me to also bring you another fact in the House, which is the health sector, Madam Speaker. We have different government hospitals, Madam Speaker, which have been built, yes, and also rehabilitated, Madam Speaker. But are those health sectors, Madam Speaker, having enough drugs in order for them to use? Madam Speaker, imagine a scenario whereby someone goes to a health sector for a condition or a disability and that person is given Panadol, Madam Speaker. Is Panadol a solution for each and every problem, Madam Speaker? No, Madam Speaker. We need each and every health sector to have enough medicine for each and every problem in order for us to have full participation of each and every children for us to lead to national development. Madam Speaker, if this is done, indeed we will live up to the famous northern saying which says, imitikula empanga, interpreted as young people are future leaders. Madam Speaker, the people of Matero constituency urge the government to indeed prioritize quality education and also look into the issues of the health sector. I submit.
I will now call upon the Minister of Education to give the government's position and to respond to the issues raised.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving an opportunity to the Minister of Education and also the constituency of 𝒂𝒅𝒖𝒄𝒂𝒕𝒚. I would like to remind the House that the Ministry is aware that children are like birds in a garden, and therefore they should be carefully and lovingly nurtured, as they are the future of the nation and the leaders of tomorrow. The Ministry, Madam Speaker, has got notable strides and efforts that has been put and that has been made that this education sector is improved. I would like to highlight some of the notable strides that the Ministry has made. The first one, Madam Speaker, is strengthening child protection laws. This was done under the Act number 12 of 2022, Madam Speaker. The Children's Code was enacted in 2022 under Act number 12. Secondly, Madam Speaker, one of the notable strides is introduction of free education. This one ranges from early childhood education to grade 12, and this has led to an increment of 9.6% enrollments, Madam Speaker. This has not only helped increasing the number of enrollments, Madam Speaker, it has also helped vulnerable children to go back to school, children that were unable to pay school fees, and also including girls. Madam Speaker, as the government, we've also increased on the number of schools. I'd like to remind the House that in the year 2023, we had a total number of 12,997 schools. But in the year 2024, it hiked to 13,487 schools. This is an increment, and this is an effort that was made by the Ministry, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there was a mention from one of the debating members relating to children living with disability. The Ministry is expanding inclusive schools by training teachers in special needs education. Madam Speaker, I would also like to remind that the Ministry is also making efforts in increasing the number of teachers. These are the statistical figures that were recorded in the year 2022, 2023, and 2024. In the year 2022, Madam Speaker, we had recruited 30,496 teachers that were recruited. Madam Speaker, again in the year 2023, 7,221 teachers were recruited. And in the previous year, 2024, 6,600 teachers were recruited. Madam Speaker, the Ministry is making efforts and is doing its best. Madam Speaker, despite that, yes, the Ministry is facing challenges, but as the Ministry, we've got additional measures that we are going to make. The first one, we are going to leverage alternative sources of financing, and this will be done by making strong links to CDF, which is the Constituency Development Fund. Madam Speaker, we also engage communities to sensitize children and make community aware of the children's rights. Madam Speaker, the Ministry will also upgrade schools from primary schools to secondary schools and also rehabilitate old schools by building schools and expanding blocks. Madam Speaker, the Ministry will rest the case. Thank you.
I will now call upon the Minister of Health to give the government's position and to respond to the issues raised.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for according me this time. My name is Amina Monomonga and I am the Minister of Health. I wish to thank the mover of this motion and each and every member for raising this very important matter concerning the welfare of the children of Zambia. Madam Speaker, the government of the Republic of Zambia is fully aware and recognizes that the right to quality education and health care is fundamental to safeguarding the future of our nation. In line with this, the government continues to undertake various measures to demonstrate its commitment, which include increased health budget allocations. Madam Speaker, in the last budget, the government increased its funding from 20.9 billion kwacha in the 2024 budget to 23.2 billion kwacha in the 2024-2025 budget, with its focus towards maternal care and health children services. In addition, the government also provides free maternal services and free under 5 services in public facilities to ensure that no child is denied the right to health. Furthermore, the government of Zambia continues to recognize the different mental health challenges that are faced by children and adolescents each and every day, which include stress, depression, and anxiety, among others, which has significantly caused the rise in substance abuse. With this, in response to this, the government has come up with several initiatives, such as offering free counseling at public hospitals, as well as collaborating with different institutions such as DEC to educate the children about the danger of substance abuse and how to manage their mental health challenges. In addition, the government continues to provide adolescent health services. Madam Speaker, the government partnered with UNICEF and the EU in launching the Equal Chances of Human Development program in June 2025, targeting children aged between the age of 0 to 8. This program integrated education, nutrition, as well as health care services for the vulnerable children, particularly in Luapula province. This was to help the vulnerable children living with different health problems. Madam Speaker, the government continues to improve the health facilities as well as constructing others. With the help of the Saudi Fund for Development, Madam Speaker, the government is constructing a pediatric hospital located in Chalala, Lusaka, which shall provide different specializations to help the children with different problems, as well as shall have various specialists to help the children. Madam Speaker, the government continues to expand its immunization and health care. Madam Speaker, the government always promotes the annual Child Week, which provides vitamin A deworming, polio vaccination, as well as other vitamins to the children to help them, and this is free. Madam Speaker, the government continues to send different health personnel in communities to vaccinate children, as well as in schools. This is free for all children, regardless of their social status. In the 2023 to 2024 years, we faced a cholera outbreak in different parts of Zambia. The government was giving out free vaccinations against cholera to help children as well as adults who might have faced cholera. It was also aiding people who had cholera with different medical expenses. Madam Speaker, the government is offering and carries out different workshops to educate children about sexual education. This teaches children about the importance of education and abstaining from sexual activities in order to preserve their future. Madam Speaker, the government is giving free medical services in public hospitals to help reduce on the expenses of the children as well as parents in public hospitals. Further, the government continues to make certain services such as TB tests, scanning at hospitals free to ensure that each and every person has the opportunity to have these services in hospitals. Madam Speaker, the government has had and continues to undertake different various measures to show its commitment towards children, and I assure you and assure each and every member seated in this August House that the government has heard each and every concern and will work on it. With this, I submit.
The Honorable Member for Matero, Mr. Kachingwe, wind up debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, Madam Speaker, my name is Kachingwe Asford, representing the wonderful people of Matero constituency. Madam Speaker, in winding up the debate, allow me to just express my gratitude to the honorable members that have supported the motion and have been able to shed their sides of the story on the motion. Madam Speaker, many views have been heard. Many solutions have been laid on the table by the government, the ministers present, and many problems were raised. Now, Madam Speaker, from the speech of the Minister of Education, they have assured us, the people of Zambia, to say they have heard and they will continue to put and implement as well as stiffen the policies that they've put in place in ensuring free and equal services, be it in the education sector and healthcare sector. Madam Speaker, with that being assured by the ministers present here today, we are also assuring our people in various constituencies that the government has heard, and we should expect to hear their outcome and their response in seeing a change in children's rights, in prioritizing their needs in education sector and healthcare services. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
I put the question. The question is that this House urges the government to demonstrate its commitment to the rights and welfare of children by substantially increasing budgetary allocations to quality education and healthcare services for all children across the country. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. No. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Her Honor, the adjournment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House now adjourns.
The question is that the House now adjourns. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Well, thank you so much for being with us on Parliament Television. We've just been watching Children's Parliament. Under the motion, urges the government to demonstrate its commitment to children's rights by significantly increasing and prioritizing budgetary investments in quality education and healthcare services for all children. So these are young girls and boys are drawn from various schools and various constituencies dotted across the country. And some of the constituencies, we did have a representative from 𝒂𝒂𝒍𝒕𝒚 constituency, Lusaka Central constituency, Matero Munali Kabwe Central, Mandevu Kapirimposhi, and not forgetting Mwembeshi and Kawata constituency. I just hope and trust you've enjoyed watching the second edition of the fourth session of the Junior Parliamentary Assembly, live on both Parliament Radio and television. And I know we've seen quite a number of comments on our socials. That's our Facebook page. I'd like to say thank you so much for those comments, and would like further just to let us know where you're watching us from. Shortly, we'll have the presentation of awards for all the participants that have taken part on today's Children's Parliament, which is the Junior Parliamentary Assembly. My name is 𝒂𝒍𝒕𝒚 𝑬𝒅𝒖𝒄𝒂𝒕𝒊𝒐𝒏. We're still together. Keep watching Parliament Television. In a bit, we'll be able to present to you what will be taking place on the floor of the House as all the participants will be awarded for participating. Keep watching and listening to Parliament Radio and Television.